very cool. This is a take two, by the way, for those of you who I deleted take one. I think it's very cool that we can broadcast something live around the world on our cell phone with a couple of presses of the buttons. It's also very annoying because you're subject to the whims of cell phone connections, and there's all different things that go into that. And when you have a bad connection, you're sitting there talking to yourself for 15 minutes like a jackass, and then you look at the comments and all it says is anybody else getting a black screen and a circle of death, a spinning circle of death? And then you realize something happened with your connection how many miles back, and nobody's been able to hear you, and it's rather annoying. So I've started this one again. So this is the drive in progress. All right, so road work ahead. So we've already passed some more road work. I guess they're putting some finishing touches on bridges or whatever. Yes, Gene, exactly. Poor man. Poor man. Literally. So yeah, like I was saying in the earlier one, there is no, oh no, this is telephone pole work. There's no, I don't have a ton of time today to do like a full drive around everything type of tour or drive, but it's just such a nice day, and I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in last night and doing the super chats and the phone calls for our first live Ask a Gettysburg guide. They're going to be live from now on, Tuesdays through June. July, we're taking off, but we will release pre-recorded shows. And August, we return, but the day will be switched to Wednesday because that is Court's day off from work. And it is a rather precarious situation, as we find out with AG today, or we have found out with AG today, to have your engineer show up, come straight from work, because there's always something that delays it. And so when we start the show, oftentimes, whether it was Colby or Court, we're starting the show and whoever it was arrived at like 5:28 and we start at 5:30, which is not good for me and the engineer, because we can never actually work on a show. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do any pre-production, we can't do any planning. I have to give them a crash course. Okay, gonna start on this, you're gonna go to that, blah, 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 blah. And then that's it. And there's no collaboration when that's happening. So Court has off on Wednesdays. So we're switching it to Wednesday so that he's able to do it without squeal. And we almost had a problem this week, because he texted me Monday and he said, hey, I might have to stay late at work to see a client, you know. But then the panic was for naught, because he thought that he was going to he thought that we were starting at like 5:30, and so that worked out. But anyway, so that's the schedule. So we got every other Tuesday in May and June all booked, ready to go. I'm going to schedule them on Facebook and YouTube so that everybody can see ahead of time. And then we're going to put out recorded ones, pre-recorded ones in July. Those will look better if you're watching on YouTube, because they're edited. They're not done on the fly. So the look of them will be better. We will have photographs inserted in, most likely, or maps, or whatever kind of visual aids might help as we go. Or maybe not, I don't know. I don't even know which ones I'm putting out. But first, what I have to do is finish the anniversary episodes, which I think are going to come out pretty good. Gene said, I'm glad I said something about the black screen. Sorry I had to hiccup this morning. Oh, it's okay. It happens. It happens. This is what happens when you're broadcasting from a cell phone and it's free. You know, if I were paying to broadcast and that was happening, I'd be bashing some skulls. You know what I mean? BP says, I'm looking at that first Lieutenant Patron membership in these next couple of months. Got to get in for that Ask a Gettysburg Guide series. Yeah, well, you don't have to be a first lieutenant to submit questions. You could be any level for that. There is a $1 level, but after all the fees, that comes out to like 5 cents for me. So I think I'm just going to get rid of the $1 level. Not that 5 cents doesn't help, but it also, you get nothing as a $1 member except you get to submit a question. And that was actually because I felt bad. Originally, it was just like for $1 you get our thanks. But then I was like, well, maybe I could let them submit questions. But I'm going to get rid of that level. Because we do, after all, call it the Officers Club, and a private is not an officer. Sorry. So, yeah. What was I saying now? Oh, yeah, so you don't have to be a first lieutenant to do that. You do have to be a first lieutenant to watch recording sessions and any other video that is made for patrons, which typically there aren't. If I'm going to make something that's for patrons as a video, I would make that available to everybody because it's probably informational. It's not history per se. So, but whatever. But you get to watch the you would watch live streams of the recording sessions, so that obviously there's no editing there. It's pretty raw. It's not in any way polished, but you get to see mess ups if there are any mess ups, which I usually leave in anyway. And also you get to participate if it's an Ask a Guide that we're recording. And we still do record those. I've got like 5 of them in the can as emergency, backups. But we are going to obviously need more because you never know. And then there's times like July where we'll be off and we'll need them. Gene says, I really enjoyed watching the live show last night. Lots of good info. Peter says, last night was great. Definitely a way to go. Yeah, I think so. It's a lot easier. A whole lot easier. And we're going over the railroad cut. We talked about this last night. How it wasn't this high during the battle. The road wasn't here. And the ground has been built up to make the bridge. And therefore, it is not what you would have seen back then. So there. Good morning again, Maria. It's nice to see you. Andy says, how'd they fight with all the monuments there? Isn't that a great question? It is such a common question. And really, oftentimes you'd hear stories of men in the regiments arguing over who gets to hide behind it and use it as cover. Of course, the Pennsylvania troops had a better time of it because their monument was huge. But they weren't all there. They were scattered about. But the ones in that vicinity, obviously, used the monument to their advantage, which is why no Confederates got past that point. Because it was hard to take that area because of the Pennsylvania Monument and the troops all up and in it, and it's wonderful. I really enjoyed watching the live show. Andy says, see, that's why you're the best. Looks nice and warm down there today. It is nice. It is 62 degrees, which, on a 90-degree day, and I go into the air conditioning and squeeze it down to 62 degrees, that feels nice. That feels refreshing. But when you're outside, it's not cold, but it's not warm either. It's just kind of there. I'm wearing shorts because it's May. It's May, and I refuse to live by the weather anymore. Once May comes, I don't care what the weather is, it's supposed to be warm. It's shorts time of year. I'll wear shorts. And I might get pneumonia. I might freeze to death. Might get the old hypothermia or frostbite. But I don't care. It's May. I'm not behind. The weather's behind. I'm not out of touch. The weather's out of touch. That's the way I like to look at it. Jeffrey says, good morning, everyone. Congrats on the Ask a Guide last night. Larry was great as expected, and the participation from the Super Chats was nice. It really was. First of all, it definitely helped defray the cost of feeding everybody. We had a gourmet meal brought in, catered. So definitely helped work towards that. No. It definitely worked. I just hope we can keep that up. That's the ticket. We're not doing this as a one-off like we're doing it every other week, so we'll see. But the Super Chats were great. I thought everybody had good questions and input, and it was nice. And I was looking through the comments that weren't Super Chats, and there were some really good questions in there, and I felt bad that, well, first of all, I didn't see them during the show, but I felt bad that, maybe they didn't know, or they just wanted to throw it out there for someone in the chat to answer. But those would have been good questions to actually ask to the guide on the air, but they weren't Super Chats, so I couldn't do it. I gotta stick to that rule, because then it's not fair to the people who play along. Someone plays along and they're like, hey, I did your Super Chat thing, but you read Joe Schmo's comment, So I get that, and I gotta be careful of that there. But that's why you should call in, because calling in is free. Not for me, I have to pay for the phone line, but it's free for you. So you call in, and then that way you don't have to do the Super Chat, you don't have to spend the time. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Maria says, looks like a beautiful day in Gettysburg. It is. It's not out by you? It's lovely here today. Just lovely. Burning Lettuce says, I haven't been here since I was a kid in the early 2000s. Well, it's time you come back, because you're not a kid anymore, and you'll enjoy it a lot more as an adult, because you'll get it more as an adult. How much of a cut does the Super Chat or YouTube take out of the Super Chat? That is a great question. I don't know. I will have to look into that, because I'm certain they don't just give you that. Well, I don't know. I've never done a Super Chat. So if you do a $10 Super Chat, to me it comes in at $9.99. So is the choice for you $9.99, or is it $10 and they take a cent? How does that work on your end? Because that might answer our question. Or is a $10 one actually $9.99? Because I saw there were some $10 ones. There were some like $10.04 ones or something like that. I couldn't figure it out. There's some $20 ones. Thank you very much for those. $25 one. But one of the $20 was a $20 one. The other one was a $19.99 one. I could probably just go in and try it myself, but who's got the time? If you got the money, honey, I've got time. All right. I've got very little time, but I do have the money and I have the hunger, so I'm going to use that money to feed my hunger. at the wonderful Gettysburg Baking Company, which, even though their bread is fantastic, they are very nice to me, and they request or grant my request to hold the bread and just give me the innards. And for that, I am thankful. Jeffrey says, love 6Q spotting JD some cash. Yeah, I like that too. That was funny. I felt bad for JD though. Maria says, I'm stuck in an office building with stupid lights and no windows. Gag me with a spoon. Gene says, 6Q is such a cool guy. Jeff says, $9.99, and then I was charged tax. So mine was 10. They charge you tax? God, this is a stupid world we live in. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And I will see you next time.